how to set up the array. Well, the array, go ahead and create one. You would have to set up the array globally, because it's going to have to be used probably by a couple of different functions. A couple of different ways of doing it is you could just simply say seats is equal to 0, comma 0. How many is that? I think that's right. Okay, so that would set up an array of all your seats initialized to 0. Right? Does that kind of answer your question? We know that seats 1 to 5 will be first class, and that's actually going to be array elements. 0 to 4. And then six to 10 would be array elements 5 to 9, inclusive. Right? Okay, any other questions you have? Oh, you know what, Jeremy? I'm sorry, I probably haven't set it up yet on Web Access. I'll go ahead and set that up. So, I mean, one of the things you're going to want to do is that when person... Yes, I'll be monitoring emails and answering Greg. So, I mean, one of the things you're going to want to do when you take a ticket, what you're going to want to do is, if they say first class, then you're basically going to use probably well, you can do it a couple of ways, but probably the easiest way would be to do a for loop to look through and see if any of these array elements are still 0. If it's 0, then you know that there's a seat available, and you just simply put a 1 in there and tell them, welcome aboard, or whatever the boarding pass is supposed to say. If there's aren't any zeros in those elements 0 to 4, then you need to ask them, do you want an economy class ticket? And then the same thing. You have to do, for economy class, you have to do the same thing. You have to look through elements 5 to 9 and look for whether there's 0 or not. And that's just a simple for loop that goes through it and just simply says, are there seats available or not? And do it that way. Okay. Any other questions on the slab assignment? Okay. All right, then we'll move on. This PDF file is not uploaded yet, and I'm in the process of uploading it. It's almost uploaded, and then you'll be able to look at it yourself. Actually, it looks like it's almost uploaded, so it's almost done. Let's just give it a second or two. But what we're going to talk about here is canvassing, which is new as of HTML5, and it's a pretty cool topic. This actually canvassing, as we start to look through it, we're going to see that it's going to be it kind of is used to do a lot of the graphical type stuff that you used to have to do with Flash or Silverlight, and you don't have to do it anymore because, or you don't have to use those separate technologies anymore because you're getting it now built into HTML5. So it's more efficient because of that. So you'll be able to draw lines, rectangles, circles, ellipses, gradients, and if those of you who took the Java class 254 probably have some idea that you can do that with the graphics array as well. But now you'll be able to do it in HTML5, so it adds quite a bit of capabilities to it. Is there anyone here who's done that sort of thing in the Java class yet? So it's an HTML canvas based, and it's like a game app. You can do game app. You can do all kinds of cool things with it. We'll look at some examples as well tonight. And we'll look at the actual canvas tag. There's actually a new tag called canvas that allows you to do a lot of this stuff. And you can draw lines, arcs, circles, shadows, all kinds of different shapes and sizes and images, and manipulate them as well as patterns. A couple of things you're going to need to know, and we'll go through it, and many of you probably already know it, is you're going to have to know something called the XY coordinate, and we'll go through that in a moment. You can resize, there's a drawing method, and the start and stop timer actually has existed all along. And we'll go through some more examples. So it's kind of cool because in the past, pre-HTML5, so you use Canvas in 680, Hal? Okay, that's good. Yeah, in the past, in order to do this sort of thing, you generally had to use Flash, and you won't need to do that now. Okay, so the canvas element, for those of you who don't know what it is just yet, is it's a new element which provides JavaScript application programming interface with methods for drawing two-dimensional bitmap graphics and animations, manipulating fonts and images, and inserting images and videos. Due to the large number of examples, most of the examples in this thing are embedded JavaScript, and one of the problems I have is that the downloads from the website actually don't have all the examples. They only got a few of them. So, you can see the code in the PDF, but we're not really going to be able to demo all of them, unfortunately. But hopefully, be able to see some of them. I tried to find on the author's website all the examples, and there was only some of them are there. I have some of them to show you that you can look at yourself, but unfortunately, not all of them are there. So the key benefit of the canvas is that it is built in to the browser, so that there's no need for a plugin like Flash or Silverlight, and which will improve performance. And this is probably going to be really the way things are going to be done in the future, with all kinds of things that you typically do with Flash. Even Adobe admits that. So they're in a bit of a pickle there. Now, So the way this is going to work is you have to understand the coordinate system, which is an XY coordinate system. And I think probably most of you understand it. It's if you did any geometry, you plot things on a piece of paper with an X and a Y coordinate, and there'd be a point, and the point would simply be the intersection of the X and the Y coordinate, kind of like we have here. I'm sure everyone remembers doing something like that in math. XY coordinate type system. Yeah. Everyone remember doing something like that? Okay. So yeah, I mean it's that sort of thing. Because as you draw things on the canvas, it's exactly what it is. I mean, this canvas is kind of like that. I guess it's the geometric paper. I forget what they call that exactly, but the geometric type paper that allows you to draw those XY sort of things. And that's basically what the canvas is, but on your web page. So we'll see some examples of how to do that. And here's the first example. And let's see if I have that example uploaded yet. Well, we can look at the code here. I do have that example. I'm not sure if I have it quite uploaded yet or not. Let me see. One thing I do have, looks like it's uploaded now if you look at it. The link here, okay, so there's a link now for canvases. See if I have that first example. Any questions so far? Okay, so we've got this about here. So we can look at the code here and what's going on. It creates, here's the canvas tag, and we're just giving it an ID, and not too much to it yet. There's a simple script here that gets the canvas by ID, the draw rectangle, and gets a 2D context for it, fills it with yellow, that's the background color, fills the rect from those coordinates 5, 10, 20, 75, creates a royal blue stroke, line width of 6, and draws the rectangle right there. So that's what we've got there. Now, if we look at the outcome, we see we get that right there. And we can look at this first example. I'll have this first example for you up in a second. Any questions on that one? Oh, wait a minute, that's not what we got, is it? Okay, well, we can see what it did. We had yellow and blue, and it had two sets of coordinates. This is not really in color, but you can see it created a rect within a rect, and filled, created the blue stroke. That's a greater thickness. Yellow was internally the yellow. This is the actual canvas border, right? As you can see, the height and width is should be 300 pixels too, by the way. Okay, the canvas element has two attributes. So the width and the height. The default width is 300 and the default height is 150. We create canvases starting with canvas ID. In this case, it was to draw a rectangle, and you can do all kinds of different things. Assuming a unique ID to a canvas allows you to access it like any other element, and use more than one canvas on a page. Next, we specify the canvas's width, 300 to 100, in a border of 1 pixel solid block. You do not need to include a visible border. To include the full back text, your browser does not support Canvas. This will appear if the user runs the application in a browser that does not support Canvas. So for example, if we go back here, we see your browser does not support Canvas. This is what gets displayed if you put it in a browser that does not support Canvas. Now, Firefox, I tested this one out in Firefox, and it works just fine in Firefox. But you may want to... Actually, I think this one's a little different. I don't know why it came out that way, but this one is IE9. It does not work in IE8, but it looks like it works in IE9. Okay, so talk about graphic context and graphic objects. And the graphics object, which is new as of HTML5, it's existed in the Java language for some time, but in JavaScript it is new. We get the context object, which is represents a 2D rendering of the surface and provides methods for drawing on a canvas. Okay, the context contains attributes for drawing, font manipulation, color manipulation, and other graphics related things. So almost any sort of graphic sort of thing. How many people here, has anyone here had any experience with doing any of this sort of stuff in Flash? This is very basic. Okay, you have a number of different possibilities. You can specify color with the fill style attribute, fill rect method. We'll draw a rectangle using X, Y, width, and height, where X and Y will be the top left corner of the rectangle. Stroke specifies the stroke, or style. Line width specifies the stroke width. Stroke method specifies the coordinates of the stroke using the arguments X, Y, width, and height. For lines in complex shape in Canvas, we use paths. A path can have 0 or more subpaths, each having one or more points connected by lines or curves. So you can actually just draw lines. That's another possibility. And you can make all kinds of different shapes just by drawing lines. And you can draw, you can keep going. You have a begin with path and then a move to path. So you start at a certain point and then draw a line to another point and keep drawing lines. From the point of origin, we use line2 method to specify the destination for the path. The line width attribute is used to change the thickness of the line. We then use the line join attribute to specify the style of the corners where two lines meet, in this case bevel. The line join attribute has three possible lines: bevel, round, and mitter. The value bevel gives the path sloping corners. Okay, so in this next particular one, example, what we see is another canvas for drawing lines, and we get the canvas, again it's 2D, and we tell it to begin path. Basically tells it we're going to start drawing a line. We start at 1010, then we just draw literally to 390.10, draw to 390.30, then draw again to 1030. We're setting the line width. Then we're adding some different styles for joining them. That's basically for when they're rounding corners and stuff. Line cap, line color will be red. Now this is going to begin a new path, and again starts at a certain point, moves the line to each one of those, sets the width at 20. Join is a rounded join. The color is orange, and then draw the path. And then we start another one. It draws the path, it also closes it as well. So we start another one, and same thing. Start at 10-100, draw lines, close the path, set the width in the line drawer. Stroke draws the actual thing. Again, this sets it up, starts it at 40, 140, and draws a bunch of lines. Sets the width to 5. And we'll see what these different caps look like as well. Color to blue. So what does that give us here? Butt line, as you can see, it's sort of rounded. Then this rounded gives us this sort of rounded shape here. And that's red. Can't see this because it's not in color. The orange line, the green line. And this is a much more square type turn. Again, mitter, so it's a very square type turn, not rounded at all. It's an idea of how you can draw some of those. Line cap attribute specifies the style of the end of the lines. There are three possible values: butt, round, and square. A butt line, which is a rather interesting name for this stuff, that the line ends have edges perpendicular to the direction of the line and no additional cap. Next, the stroke style attribute specifies the line color, in this case red. The stroke method draws the line on the canvas. The default stroke color is black. The round line join creates rounded corners. The round line cap adds semicircular cap to the ends of the path. The cap's diameter is equal to the width of the line. The closed path method closes the path by drawing a straight line from the last specified destination back to the point of the path's origin. Mitter line join bevels the line at an angle where they meet, so it's basically just a proper right angle in that case. Butt line cap adds a rectangular cap to the line ends. The length of the cap is equal to the line width, and width of the cap is equal to half the line width. The edge of the square line cap is perpendicular to the direction of the line. Alright, any questions so far?